Hi everyone, this is Tanner here, and today I'm going to be talking about a very wild NFC Wildcard weekend, as well as going and talking about the NFC Divisional round playoffs here. Um, I'm a huge football fan, and it's something that I don't express on this channel since I kind of go more towards the Mario pop culture side of things. But football is a big passion of mine, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of talk about my football thoughts in kind of a video medium, if you will. And this is kind of a podcast like type of format. I do want to keep these episodes not super long, definitely below an hour, kind of in the 30, 45 minute range here. But I still want to make sure I'm giving good content, good takeaways here for these games. And again, these are my opinions alone. If you have different opinions, cool. I love football discourse. I think that's what makes the sport really that much more fun. So let's go ahead and talk about the first game here in the NFC playoffs, and that is the LA Rams beating the Carolina Panthers. And I think the main question for the Panthers was, okay, you win kind of a weak NFC South, and how does this team look against the playoffs against the Rams, who were a lot of people, including mine, kind of favorite team in the NFC and kind of in the NFL. And I thought the Panthers looked pretty solid, man, pretty good actually. I think for me, the one thing is that this game was kind of microcosm of Bryce Young, how he's been in his NFL career. Bryce Young, Panthers quarterback, had some really special plays in this game. You look at that one play, he had that rushing touchdown. That'll be one of those plays when I think of these playoffs, when I think of this game, that will be one of these plays that always just is in my mind. The rushing touchdown, you love the athleticism from Bryce Young. He also had that touchdown late in the end zone that was beautifully placed, just really nice to see. But he also had some kind of inconsistencies. He had a weird pick early on. He had some misses on some third and fourth downs that you don't love to see. And I think that's kind of where Bryce Young has been so far in his NFL career. I don't think he's been a bust. I think he's done some good things. He's had some nice wins, but he just is very up and down. You look at the Panthers this whole season, they beat the Packers. Awesome, but then they got swept by the Saints. They've been such a hot and cold team, and you really saw that with Bryce Young's game. And Bryce Young reminds me a lot of his backup on his team, Andy Dalton, where Andy Dalton for the Bengals was a pretty good quarterback, right? And he would have good moments. And it wasn't, I wouldn't call him unclutch, but Andy Dalton just had trouble stringing together plays. And that's what it feels like Bryce Young is. He'll have great moments, he'll have great flashes, but it's just kind of more so stringing together consecutiveness. And that really kind of was the Panthers this whole game. They could have won this game. You had, though, a fumbled kickoff. You had some missed tackling on the defense. You just had so many kind of ups and downs here that it was kind of just unfortunate for Carolina. And I think that's who they've been kind of so far in the Dave Canales era, their head coach. They've been a very inconsistent team, and I think you just need to get things kind of ironed out. I will say Dave Canales, I thought did a pretty good job of play calling. I've kind of been a bit up and down with him as a head coach. I thought, though, this was a pretty good showing. I thought he did a good job attacking the Rams defense there, and I think kind of overall with the Panthers, kind of the big picture, right, and then we'll kind of go smaller picture is I think you give Bryce Young and Dave Canales another year. And I think next year's a big make or break. Hey, we got to the playoffs. That's awesome. Can we continue to go? Can we continue to go upwards? Right? That's really where I think next year's going to land for this team. I think this team kind of just needs another X factor on the team. And whether that be trading for an edge rusher like a Max Crosby, I think would be a really good fit here, right? Drafting a guy like a Kenyon Sadiq here, the tight end of Oregon, I think that would be a really fun fit. Maybe even a Casey Concepcion here. Because you have T-Mac, Terrell McMillan, who's had a great rookie season. I like him a lot. Jalen Coker was Austin's game, wide receiver. So if you just add something to that receiver room where it's pretty good to give them that high of a boost, or you kind of get that X factor on the defensive line, I think this team could be pretty special because I think you're building some stuff. Look at the secondary. J.C. Horn had a really great year. Mike Jackson, the cornerback, was really good in this game. Picked off Matt Stafford, had some good deflections. You, of course, have Derek Brown on the D-line. So you're building some stuff in Carolina. It's just, can we go upwards, right? Can we kind of continue that trajectory? I think that's really where next year is going to be for the Panthers. I think overall, though, you're happy with how this season went. And if it can be used as a building block, that's the best thing necessary. But let's talk about the LA Rams here, who do win this game, man. Matthew Stafford at the end, just a really great performance here. He was really good early on. I mean, he was just diagnosing this Panthers defense. Pew, 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 quick throw here, quick throw there, all around the field. And he had a kind of bit of a sluggish second and third quarter, but, in the fourth quarter comes alive here and just is able to deliver. And Matthew Stafford, I'm just really interested to see kind of where this postseason goes from him. And I think this is kind of going to be a legacy defining postseason for Matthew Stafford. I think a lot of people have him as maybe a Hall of Famer. I think he is personally. I do. First ballot, I would say. But if he wins the MVP this year, which like he might, plus if he's able to do something really special, man, and win another Super Bowl or at least get to another one, that's going to be setting him up really interesting all the time. And just, kind of Hall of Fame stuff aside, he's just so fun to watch. His ability to read the field, the cannon of an arm, the way these throws are able to kind of come out, and kind of correlating this to Bryce Young a bit. Matthew Stafford wasn't always viewed this way. In Detroit, Stafford was viewed as, nowadays Stafford's viewed as like a top 5, top 4, top 3 quarterback. Back in the day, say 2014, 15, he was more around 10 or 11 for all kind of ranking back then. And it feels like, Matthew Stafford kind of took this giant leap forward. Could Bryce Young do that? It's just kind of interesting to think of it. But yeah, Stafford played really great when it counted. I saw he pass Kurt Warner on a bunch of like Rams playoff stats for passing. Man, you're just happy for him. Puka Nacua was awesome. Continuing to impress. He reminds me a lot of Devontae Adams, which is funny because you have Devontae Adams on this Rams team, who also had a very nice game. Nice to see him healthy. So it's kind of almost have two Devontae Adamses, but yeah, just very impressed with the offense for the Rams. Sean McVay did his thing. I am starting to get concerned about the defense, though, to be honest. They've kind of been slippery ever since that Seattle game Thursday night because they lost that. Then they lost to the Falcons where the defense didn't play that well in both of those outings. Yeah, they beat the Cardinals week 18, but okay. I don't know. I still like Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator, a lot, especially if the Dolphins head coaching job, but I just have some questions of where are things going to kind of go and kind of see where things are at here. But a Rams win. Overall, very fun game. It was cool to see a playoff game in Carolina once again here. And happy for Panthers fans to get here and happy for Rams fans to get a win here. And then next up here, we're going to talk about the second game, an all-time classic with the Chicago Bears beating the Green Bay Packers. And this was an absolutely fantastic game here. Let's start with the Bears, right? Let's start with the victors of this. For me, what this really comes down to, I think, is a couple of things. First of all, I think Caleb Williams is kind of transforming into something special. I think when we talk about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, you have Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Stafford, Herbert. That's kind of the defined six. Then you have other guys like a Jalen Hurts, a Jared Goff, a Dak Prescott, someone else I'm probably forgetting who can kind of throw themselves into that conversation. Jordan Love. Caleb Williams, man, could kind of enter that kind of top tier because we'll see how this goes, but he was struggling early in this game. The two picks I thought were more so kind of arm punts, basically on fourth down, just try to get something deep. If it gets picked, it's whatever. But man, when the game is special, he delivers. And you look at that fourth down late in this game, he's rolling out to the left, getting hit as he throws. He delivers to Romo Dunze for a fantastic throw. And then you had the DJ Moore touchdown late in this game to win it. And that's the thing about the Bears is that they've had quarterbacks here in the past that have been very streaky with some physical upside. You look at Justin Fields. He had great games, but it wasn't consistent enough. Mitchell Trubisky, he had some great games, but it wasn't consistent enough. Caleb Williams can be very streaky. There's times where it's like, oof. But when it matters most, he plays great. And that's the thing. Everything was just on display. The scrambling, the arm talent. I think one thing, I was lower on Caleb Williams coming out. I was just more so about the turnovers and the pocket presence. But under Ben Johnson, he's gotten that handled. But the one thing with Caleb Williams is that clutch gene is very much there, right? There's just so much to like about Caleb Williams. He reminds me a lot. This is a big comp. Early career Andrew Luck. Luck was one of those guys here where he would have some picks, he would have some missed throws, but he delivered in the clutch time. And I think that Caleb Williams is kind of shaping up that way. They're different players and how they go about stuff. But yeah, just super impressed with Caleb Williams. Also, kind of speaking of drafting, Colson Loveland, the tight end, the rookie, looking really nice here. I really did not love that pick, to be honest. I think I gave it like a C or C minus, something like that. Because I'm like, you already kind of have Cole Kmet. But, man, he's been awesome. It's weird to call him a tight end because he's so fluid, the way he runs his routes, just ability to track down the ball, catch it. I mean, it's really special out there, and it's like, wow. And I'm trying to kind of figure out a comp for him. I don't know, because he just does everything so well. So you have him. DJ Moore was awesome. Super happy for DJ Moore to win a playoff game. He was a Panther, then he's a Bear, and it's just nice to see him have these big moments. So that's obviously cool. I also think here, The reason I think the Bears were able to win this game is the fact that the O-line played better early on. Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, some of these Packers defenders were kind of more so getting to Caleb Williams in the backfield. Right, the O-line was struggling, but late Ben Johnson did a great job adjusting. And I think that's what's impressed me about Ben Johnson is, the head coach of the Bears, Ben Johnson, he came out here from Detroit, this offensive guru, where, he's going to design these awesome plays. He definitely has, but it's just the ability to kind of switch, to kind of have that grit, that toughness. This Bears culture, it's just been so impressive. I think that's the one thing that kind of shocks me. It's not like I thought this team was going to be weak, but I thought it was going to be more flashy. But there's that fight. They're going to come in. They're going to punch you around. And we saw it here against this NFC North team, a division rival. They came back. They held their own. And it's just so special. And I think, yes, teams are going to catch on defensively next year. And maybe things might be a bit hard at times offensively. But that fight and that culture, that stuff's very real. At least, for 3 to 4 years. And I think the Bears have a window now. And you're going really good with the schedule here. So, yeah, just very overall impressed with the offense coming out. Just Caleb Williams, man, I think the thing with him is I kind of view it as if you this is a video game comp for y'all. If you ever played the Super Mario Brothers games, right, and a good amount of my viewers have, you kind of have usually in the Mario games the 8 worlds, and then you have the secret world 9, and it's like, well, you beat all 8 worlds, cool, you're good, you're done, but you have those secret levels, and you can complete them, and they help you complete the game. And I feel like those secret levels is where the Bears are at now. They have completed the 8 worlds. They have won the NFC North. The only NFC North team left. They beat the Packers in the playoffs. All these things, great. This now is kind of, hey, what else can we get? Can we get more? Can we get more? It'll be interesting to see if they can. The defense for the Bears does concern me, though. Dennis Allen, the DC, I think does some good stuff elevating a roster, but I had the Bears coming into the season at a 9-win team. I just didn't love the defense, and I think that's showing itself more here. And I don't know, man. I'm interested to see how this thing all goes down with the defense. I do like Dennis Allen. I think he can adjust well, and he did in the second half of this game. I just think the Bears kind of starting late in games could catch up to them eventually. But yeah, a lot to like about Chicago. Super happy for this team. I mean, the fact that they're winning here, right, in Soldier Field and getting a huge win is big. So very happy for them. And then the Green Bay Packers do lose. Here's what I'll say. Talking about quarterbacks a lot this episode, Jordan Love was awesome. I mean, I don't really think Jordan Love's the issue here. He was fantastic. He had some amazing throws, tight windows. I think this is one of his best playoff games, right? I think it's up there with the Cowboys win he had in 2023 regular season, or 2023 season, took place in 2024. Anyways, Jordan Love was great. Nice to see Matthew Golden get going. A lot of great stuff there, right? A lot of stuff you really like. And Jordan Love, I think, has had a really nice season. I think Love has been kind of about a top 10 quarterback this year. You look at guys like, I think Matthew Stafford, Drake May. I think you put Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. And then I think kind of Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, all three kind of close in a clump. But Jordan Love's been really good this season. It was nice to see him at least end the season well. Yeah, he had some missed throws late, but I thought he had some spectacular plays this season, this game. It's really cool to see that. My main thing with the Packers is I think they just need an X factor on offense. It was nice to see Matthew Golden get going. Hopefully he can have a good year too, but you just kind of more so worry about where's this guy to really look out for and be like, oh, that's the guy we have to watch out for the Packers. Josh Jacobs is a really good running back, but he got stifled in the second half. The Packers, I think their biggest run in the second half was like 6 yards. That's it. That's crazy, especially when you have a huge lead. I mean, that's the other thing on this. This Packers team blew a lead because they couldn't run the ball. Because I think that this Packers receiving core, they're good, but they're not amazing. And, for instance, you look at a team like the Seahawks, who are the number 1 seed this year. I think Sam Darnold and Jordan Love have some... I think there's some comparisons to be made with the quarterbacks there. Darnold and Love sometimes will throw a weird pick or a missed throw. What's going on? I think both teams run the ball well. But I think the thing that separates the Seahawks offense to a higher level is having someone like Jason, a superstar receiver who can just take over games. If need be, can just throw it up to him. I don't know if the Packers have that. Could that be Matthew Golden? Maybe. I liked him a lot coming out. I think Tucker Kraft, when healthy, kind of is that guy. But I think that's what the Packers have missed. I think when Devontae Adams was on this team, I think he did that so well. And I think trading away Devontae Adams is honestly was kind of a bad, dumb move, and I think it's panned out that way for Green Bay. It's been exactly that here. So I just think you need to get an X factor on offense. I don't know if you fire Matt LaFleur, to be honest. I don't know if that's the correct move. I think LaFleur's done a great job. Jordan Love really helping him reach his potential because Jordan Love coming out was viewed as a bad pick, a project, and the fact that he's a top 10 quarterback, top 12, however your rankings go, I think it's impressive. I think LaFleur deserves a lot of credit. So that's kind of my just thoughts on the offense. And then the defense, Micah Parsons being out definitely doesn't help. I still think you can upgrade that corner, right? I still think a cornerback upgrade could be helpful. I don't know, man. I like the Packers. I think they're very well coached. They remind me, though, a lot of the Chargers in the NFC. We have a great quarterback, really good head coach, but you just don't have that much X factor talent. So you can win 9, 10, 11 games a season, but to get to a Super Bowl, to win this many games consecutively, it's a bit harder to do that. But I still like Green Bay. Overall, roller coaster of a season, and for it to end this way is disappointing, especially to choke away that game and the special teams here of it all. I mean, just really, it's just disappointing as well. I don't feel like really ranting about that. I think a lot of people have touched on that, but it is disappointing for that to be a continuous issue for the Packers. But congrats to the Bears on winning. I think Green Bay, get healthy and upgrade the roster, and you'll be good. And then we have ourselves the Eagles here losing to the San Francisco 49ers at home. The Niners win in Philly. Big win for them. And this was kind of a more defensive game here, right? This was a more of a non-offensive showcase like the other two NFC games we mentioned. So talking about the Niners here, I'll start with them. I was really impressed with this defense. With all the injuries they have, they came in, did a great job. Couple guys I'm going to shout out. First of all is Eric Kendricks. Signed with this team a couple of weeks ago. Eric Kendricks was a former kind of all-pro linebacker with the Vikings in 2018, 2017 during the Mike Zimmer years from Minnesota. So it's been a while here, but he had been really good with them. He had been very much one of those kind of just key pieces of that defense. And he goes ahead and has kind of regressed since then, but he had, I thought, a really good season coming in here or a really good game for the Niners coming in here. He had, I think, like 10 total tackles against the Eagles. He was great in coverage. He was part of that deflection at the end. So you had him. I was really impressed with his play, that veteran linebacker coming in, and I think that was kind of a good signing substitute for Fred Warner, where Warner and Kendricks are both kind of these high IQ guys and whatnot. It's just cool to see a player who I liked watching in his prime ball out here. That was fun. Another player is cornerback, and I want to make sure I'm saying this right, Upton Stout. Really nice game. Had some good kind of batted balls here for a 49ers secondary. And just Robert Saleh, I just continue to be impressed with. I think he does such a good job elevating this team, elevating this defense. The fact that this team won in Philly. Now, again, the Eagles offense has issues, but it's still impressive. I think Robert Saleh is going to be a great head coach next year. And then the Niners offense here, I like to do my comps. Brock Purdy reminds me so much of Tony Romo. It's kind of uncanny, at least in my eyes, where both of them don't have a cannon of an arm, but have a quick release. They're getting out, pew, pew, pew. Both of them are kind of mobile. Both, I would say, are mobile. And both of them can create on the run. I think the issue, though, of Brock Purdy and Tony Romo, and Tony Romo was in his prime, was that they'll kind of do more sometimes than they think they can do, if that makes sense. There's times where Tony Romo's trying to scramble around and launches this ball, and you're like, Tony, why are you doing that? And he thinks he can maybe hit it, but he can't. I think sometimes the same happens with Brock Purdy. We'll make, this crazy play, and then he'll do that again, but it's one he shouldn't make, but he still does it. And I think with Brock, that's something that's kind of been in his NFL career, because I think when he puts it together, when he's throwing on the run, look at the Bears game, the Colts game, Brock Purdy was awesome in those games. The dude has the talent. Quick release, scrambling around, really creative. But it's sometimes trying to do too much, right? I'm trying to think of a great comparison here, right? But everyone kind of has to play with the known play strengths. And I think that Brock Purdy does a good job extending the 49ers offense. I think, though, he tries it too much. And I know the kind of Quinyon Mitchell picks that Brock Purdy had in this game weren't more so that, but that's kind of the overall vibe I've had with Brock Purdy this season. I think if the team wants to win a Super Bowl, you have to kind of play within the confines more so, or kind of know the limits. I think that's something that can be very tough. for quarterbacks to do, and it's not an easy thing. But I think that's something like Lamar Jackson has mastered. Where he's someone that can create a lot of plays, but he doesn't turn over that much. I think Brock Purdy just kind of limited turnovers, but still happy for Brock Purdy, right? You go back to the 2022 season. This is where he got that injury in the NFC title game. So for him to win, right, in Philadelphia in a playoff game, I'm happy for him. He had some nice throws in this game. That Christian McCaffrey touchdown on the run to seal it was so nice in the red zone, running around, throwing it to C-Mac on the run. He had some really big plays in this game as well. And then you had the trick play here for the 49ers where you went ahead and had a Juwan Jennings throw it to Christian McCaffrey, which they used in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs in the 2023 season. At least a play very like. And this game reminded me a lot of the Super Bowl from 2023, the 49ers Chiefs game, where I think the final score is like Chiefs won 26-23. And it was kind of a game where the Niners offense was good, not great, but the defense was pretty solid. And I kind of feel the same way about this game for San Francisco. The defense was good, not great. Or the offense was good, not great. The defense was pretty good, and they get the win. Credit to Kyle Shanahan for coaching here. I mean, what a legacy he's building. But my point is with the Niners is that I just want to see kind of the offense and things get refined a bit more. And they have an interesting matchup coming up. Again, and then for the Eagles here. So I've been keeping notes here, or I typed up some notes before coming in here on to do this show. And for the Eagles, you can see my notes here are just dots. That's legit what I have. Also, wanted to shout out here. Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver for the 49ers, had a big game. He was drafted by the Chiefs, played in like 2018, was big in this game for San Francisco. So, wanted to mention that. Cool to see him playing well. But, yeah, man, this Eagles team, I don't know what to say. It's the same stuff. Here's what I'll say. And I'll say this, right? Kevin Patullo, I do not think is a good offensive coordinator at all. But people on social media calling him a bum or really going after him, like, with football, you got to separate the player and the person. Kevin Patullo seems like a good dude. He seems like a nice person. Overall, this is football. Yes, you get emotionally invested. I know, I'm an Eagles fan, right? And I would love for this team to go back-to-back and win. And trust me, it is frustrating how underutilized this offense is. But I think that, when you see Eagles fans egging his house and just kind of calling him that, I don't like it. To be honest, I just don't. It doesn't sit the best with me. If you want to be critical of him, sure, do that. Say, hey, he could do better. And I'm totally on board with that. But when you go into name calling and kind of thinking beyond that, I'm just not a big fan of that. And I wanted to kind of say my mind there. A lot of change has to come. I think he has to get fired. A lot of retirements, a lot of changes going to happen to Philly. Kind of a mini rebuild, if you will. And I don't think that's a bad idea because the past couple of stuff in the Nick Sirianni era has been 2021, losing a wild card to the Buccaneers. 2022, losing the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. 2023, losing the wild card against the Buccaneers. 2024, winning the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And now 2025, losing the wild card to the 49ers. You're either on top of the world pretty much, or you're very disappointed. And just to go up and down that often is just not a great recipe for continued success. And I think this team, how it's structured now with better coaching, could maybe go and win another Super Bowl, but a lot of changes need to happen overall for the Eagles. And I don't want to kind of speculate too much because if we get breaking news that they moved on or they're not, I don't want to spend time speculating. I'll probably touch on it later when we do the NFC Divisional round if there's something to mention there. But yeah, congrats to the Niners. Big win for this team. And that takes us to the Divisional round here as they go ahead and are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. What a game here, y'all. NFC West duel, the number one Seahawks, right, going on and taking on the Niners here, right? You always think of that 2013 NFC title game, classic in Seattle with them winning, and I kind of think they win here as well. This is a tough one. These two teams played Week 18. The Seahawks defense shut down the Niners. I just think the Niners, hopefully George Kittle's okay. But he has an Achilles injury. Looks like he's going to be out for the postseason. But hopefully he can bounce back next year. So you got George Kittle out, who's a big part of this offense. You just have injuries. You went to Philly and have a tough physical game. And I just think with Seattle, having a number one seed, having rest can sometimes hurt. But the Seahawks defense has been amazing. I think defenses need their time to rest. They need their time to kind of cool down, take it easy, I think Mike McDonald has done an awesome job against this Niners offense. Even week one, when these two teams played, yes, the Niners won, but the Seahawks defense was really good. And you just have, I think, a good way to kind of operate against this team. I think Mike McDonald just knows how to kind of scheme against this team. So I think Seattle wins. And the Niners offense is good, but I like Seattle's weapons. I like the coaching. I think this is a Seahawks win. I don't have much analyzation before that because I think it's going to be a very low, like kind of in the 20s, kind of similar to this Niners-Eagles game where I think it's going to come down. I think there's going to be a kind of a bunch of weird plays. Block punts, block kicks, fumbles, some picks. I think it's going to be a very messy, grinded out game. And here's my hot take. I'll have a hot take for y'all watching. I think the winner of Bears-Rams wins the NFC. Because that's the other game we have. It's going to be the Bears against the Rams, which is going to be really cool here. I think this is going to be a very tough physical game, Niners, Seahawks. And I think whoever wins is just going to be kind of coming out here, defeat just, oh man. And then you're going up against either the Rams, high-powered offense with Sean McVay, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, or the Bears' high-powered offense with Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, Colson Loveland. Like, good luck to whoever wins this game. Like, that's kind of my takeaway. It's like, oof. It's just going to be a battle out there. It's going to be fun knowing in the NFC West in Seattle. Classic game here. It's crazy how 3 of the 4 teams left here are in the NFC West. You have, you do. You have Niners, Seahawks, Rams. That's absolutely crazy here that's the case. But yeah, I think Seattle wins. And very excited for that game here. And Mike McDonald does an awesome job with that defense. And then we'll talk about Bears-Rams here, which is in a way, I think, the NFC title game. Because, like I said, I think whoever wins this wins against an opponent next week. I might change that, but that's just kind of what I'm feeling. This is exciting, man. I mean, you have 2 great offensive minds here. You have 2 really good quarterbacks. And here's what I kind of come down to. I think both of these teams have very similar pros and cons. As I mentioned in today's episode, I think their defenses could be better. I think for me, here's where I stand. I just count the Bears. I think they run the ball better. I think Ben Johnson's a good run designer. I think Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, he's always been really good at the passing game side of things, right? I mean, his quarterback this year could win MVP. But I've always kind of been a bit with lukewarm on his running game. And I think Kyron Williams, the running back, is good. I think he's a pretty good player, but I think the Bears can run the ball well. I think there's multiple ways to go and attack them here. And I think that overall their defense here, I kind of like it a bit more. I think they kind of are able to kind of set up things a lot more. You look at the Rams-Panthers game here early on. One thing with Carolina, some of the miscues I talked about were some deep plays that Carolina had trouble connecting on. The Bears have been hitting those deep plays pretty often. So I worry about the deep ball passing game defense for LA. I think Chicago could take advantage of that. I also think, too, the Bears secondary is very ball hawky. They like to get those interceptions. Kevin Byard, what a year he's had at safety. Nashawn Wright, what a year he's had at corner. A lot of picks. And I think Stafford is a great deep ball thrower. But if you have a defense, I think that can kind of just play a deep game very well. I just like the Bears. I think at home, too, in Soldier Field. I don't know, man. I just like this team a lot. And I think Ben Johnson's a great head coach, as I mentioned, that culture and whatnot. So I think the Bears win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game in the 30s and 20s, but I just kind of do like this matchup here as well. And I do have more of a concern for this Rams defense and their matchup than Chicago's. But that does it, y'all. Let me know what you think of this. This was fun to do. I like talking football. Like I said, I'll at least do this for the playoffs. So the plan is to have an AFC episode going through all the AFC Wildcard games, AFC Divisional round prediction, doing that for the championship games, and then the Super Bowl, and it made the draft in the postseason. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We come out here at 29 minutes. So yeah, pretty good timing here. Hope you all had a great time. And until next time, take care.